September of 2014. It's the festival of Ganesh. I'm up on stage performing with all my usual vigor, and it's time to strike the final pose in 3, 2, 1, and the power goes out. But before I let you in on what happened next, let's rewind a few years prior to this performance. At 4 years old, I found myself seated in one of the first dance classes that my mother taught at Abhinaya dance school, which she had established. Old enough to understand dance, but too young to practice it, I just sat there and scribbled in my coloring book. But out of the corner of my eye, I watched the kids tap their feet to the Tak Kar Dimni beat. Little did I know that this would be the starting point to an ongoing exploration into the world of Bharatanatyam among many other classical dances. So I'm always performing, whether it be on stage, at school, or in the hidden corners of my mind where no one can see. When the music comes on, I'm in my element, moving with the beat and the talam. My name is Shakthi Abinaya, Shakti meaning the female power, and Abhinaya meaning expression. So the expression of the female power is something that I've always worked to incorporate into my dance pieces. In a way, dance has given me the confidence required in life, because no matter who is watching, I've always given it my best. Now, one of the first things that we learn in Bharatanatyam is the Namaskaram. It serves as a prelude to the commencement of the dance, offering a gesture to seek the blessings of Mother Earth, God, our Guru, the elders, and the audience. This Namaskaram and various other literary aspects of Bharatanatyam traces its roots to the saint Bharata Muni and his writings in the book Natya Shastra. He says in the Natya Shastra, there's no knowledge, there's no craft, there's no science, there's no art, and there's no yoga or action that does not fall under the purview of the performing arts, that is Natya. Bharatanatyam started as a temple dance tradition 2000 years ago and is perhaps one of the most advanced and evolved dance forms of all time. The name Bharatanatyam is a simple derivation from the three most important aspects of dance, and these are Bhav from Bhava, meaning emotion, Ra from Raga, meaning music or melody, Ta from Tal, meaning rhythm, and Natyam, meaning dance. Every aspiring dancer starts off with the Mudras, moves on to the Adavas, the Alaripu, Jatishwaram, Varnam, Tillana, so on and so forth. There's a shlokam that says, Yato hasta tato drishti, yato drishti tato manaha, yato manaha tato bhavaha, yato bhavaha tato rasaha. This means, where your hands move, that's where your eyes should look. Where your eyes look, that's where your concentration would be. Where your concentration is, that's where your emotion would be. And where your emotion is, that's where your soulful feeling would be. Therefore, whatever the theory may encompass, the success of a dance performance solely depends upon how the dancer portrays these elements in their dance. In the exploration of this concept, we come across a very common question, and that is, what qualities constitute a dancer? Well, it's in the key life skills that we learn in the process. Discipline, creativity, and focus are crucial when it comes to mastering not just Bharatanatyam, but any pursuit. Once you cultivate these essential skills, it's not difficult to pass it on to the people surrounding you, because you positively influence and attract the right crowd. I've witnessed the transformative impact it has had on people when they see you pursue something with dedication. So I'd like to quote a personal example. Siddharth Swaminathan, a CHIREC alumni, was one of my mother's first dance students. I watched his learning curve from the beginning, and he's always been an embodiment of motivation. Moreover, him being a male in the dance field was remarkable, seeing as there has been a decline in the number of male performers. He recently performed a dance piece at his college, a moment that filled my mother with pride as she watched her student grow. 7 years after his graduation from Abhinaya Dance School, I achieved a significant milestone in my own dance journey by completing my Bharatanatyam Anukriti. And An Arangetram is the first solo recital of a dancer, and it's a 3-hour-long program of the entire Bharatanatyam repertoire. After 6 months of rigorous practice, the day that I finally performed, it was a bittersweet moment. Towards the end of the performance, I was approached by my fellow dance batchmates at the Nitya Pachara school, headed by my guru, Ravina Vadapalli. I was almost moved to tears when I heard their words of appreciation. I watched the faces of my juniors fill with awe. And I think this is how profound of an impact dance has had on my life and on the lives of the countless number of individuals I've strung along with me on this journey. Reflecting upon this, I think it's also important to recognize the source of my inspiration, and that's my mother. Her unwavering dedication and passion has been my guiding light and driving force towards my own pursuit in this beautiful art form, and she is my first guru in all respects. So in this way, dance has always painted a very vibrant picture, but it also often unearths a very sobering reality. So to see what I mean, let's have a quick show of hands. How many of us know the dance form Humor? I see quite a few hands. For those of you who watched the movie Padmavat, I'm sure you've seen this dance being showcased. It's a dance from Rajasthan. Moving on to the next one, how many of us know Satriya? I still see a few hands, and I know this is quite a difficult one, but it's a traditional dance of Assam. Moving on to the last one, how many of us know pairing? I encourage the audience to look around and see how many hands have been raised. So I think it's going to shock you to know that Perini is actually the traditional dance form of our own state, Telangana. Seeing the number of fans, I think it's quite obvious that we don't have a lot of knowledge about our own traditional dances, and there are quite a few reasons for this, of course. So let me introduce you to the tale of Perini, a dance that has been steeped in the cultural tapestry of our lands, that has been like turning back to the times of the dynasties. Our story begins from the 1500s, wherein a chapter marred by injustice unfurls during the colonial era. Perini's rhythm faced harsh suppression during the British rule. This cast a shadow on the flourishing legacy of Perini, especially among the upper classes of society. Tied to temple traditions and adorned with rituals that were considered immoral, it quickly became the target for colonial disapproval. Over time, opportunities to learn and practice Perini dwindled, especially among the rural areas and marginalized communities. The echoes of injustice resonated throughout generations, restricting access to this art form to those who needed it most. With this story, we see how a single event of oppression that was fueled by misconceptions and biases became the catalyst for the decline of an entire cultural legacy. Perini, which was once a vibrant image of our cultural identity, became the casualty of historical injustice. Its voice is still only heard in the limited awareness and opportunities that surround it today. And these problems are not unique to Perini. As contemporary culture gains prominence, classical dances are viewed as outdated. Because how many of us would rather watch a dance performance than binge watch the new Netflix show, right? And moreover, the limited promotion and accessibility that surrounds these art forms also hinders potential audiences from appreciating them. States that foster these dance forms also lack economic support and participation. Each performance requires a substantial amount of financial backing, putting a financial strain on both artists and patrons. Lastly, and most importantly, the lack of discipline and commitment among artists themselves creates a decline in the overall performance quality, artistic innovation, and cultural expression. This cycle continues, dimming the presence of these very deserving classical dance forms. But why does any of this matter? Indian classical dances originated as a primitive means of artistic and cultural expression. We Being an integral part of spiritual ceremonies and a means to praise and be devoted to a higher being, that is God, it transcended to be a pathway for exercise, entertainment, and well-being. Throughout various civilizations, dance has been multifaceted, proving to contribute to the social, the religious, and the artistic dimensions of communities. For me personally, growing up steeped in the art of dance has woven a profound connection between me and Indian classical dances. As a product of this cultural heritage, these dances aren't merely just performances to me. They are threads woven into the fabric of my very upbringing. And so the loss in these dances doesn't just become a loss to the broader cultural landscape, but rather a personal erosion of the very foundation that nurtured and molded so many. And so the preservation of these dances doesn't just become a cultural responsibility, but rather a commitment to sustain the very core of who we are. So let me visualize how all of us can be a part of dance. I want you all to imagine a flower, right? It blooms, and there are so many elements that are connected to it. The sun rays that fall on the flower, the bee that makes itself at home, and the human that admires it all. And so you could be the flower, the sun, the bee, or you could be solely here to admire what surrounds you. But what you should realize is that you are part of a grander scheme of things. You are part of the domino effect. With that being said, you may now ask, what can we do? When it comes to addressing the challenges that these dances face, solutions abound, and it's up to us to utilize them effectively. Various institutions such as the Sangeet Bharati and the Spirit of Madhuri have taken it upon themselves to promote and preserve classical dances through their performances and their social media posts. Moreover, established by the Sangeet Natak Academy, they revive the beauty of classical dances on a nationwide level by conducting fellowships, research opportunities, and festivals. On an individual basis, what we can do, the simplest thing that we can do, is advocating for and supporting these organizations. This could be through volunteering, fundraising, raising awareness, or simply just sharing their posts on your Instagram story. Organizing workshops and sharing short clips on the different dance styles of India is also a surefire way to engage audiences in a way that's exciting, but also time effective. And looking back into our past doesn't mean we shouldn't integrate our present with the future. Using technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality to create interactive experiences also proved to bring in a more younger audience, such that the cultural legacy continues for generations. And so by learning, by creating, supporting, or simply sharing your love for the art forms, you can be a part of the chain that preserves our cultural identity. Now for a minute, I want you all to go back to the first minute of this talk. September of 2014, it was Ganesh Chaturthi, and I was on stage dancing. Just when I was about to strike my final pose, the power went out. Amidst all that chaos, one thought echoed in my mind: sustain. I realized the importance of holding on to that pose steadfastly, because even under all those unexpected circumstances, I knew the show must go on. Thank you.